Hello and welcome to Soul Love with Kimness. I am Kim van der Zande, your host, and I'm super excited to share another episode of Soul Love with you, where we share inspirational and empowering stories from the heart. We talk about the beauty and the shadows as both are part of the ascension journey, to remind you that you are powerful, you are magical, and to have trust in what you feel to be true deep within. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Before we start the next Soul Love conversation, I want to invite you to check out my amazing book, Activating the Flower of Love, a sacred guide for manifesting your deepest desires and highest calling. This sacred book, filled with powerful tools and activations, will guide you to open your heart to the beauty and wisdom within you, empowering you to create the life you deeply desire from the foundation of love. You can find Activating the Flower of Love in all the major online and offline bookstores in ebook or paperback, or you can check it out through my website, kimness.nl, where you can also discover the different ways of working with me and the latest updates on new starting programs. Enjoy this next episode of Soul Love. Welcome, beautiful souls, to a new episode of Soul Love. And today I have the honor to share a sacred conversation with my beautiful soul sister, Nasrin Barbic. Thank you for joining me, and I'm very excited. We already had a beautiful conversation on your podcast, and today we're sharing the sacred space to all the Soul Love listeners. And maybe we want to start as we're starting this new year as well. What has been your energy as you transitioned into the new year, and what has really sparked your soul, is awakening you to share in 2024?
Yeah, thank you, Kim. Thank you for inviting me. It is an honor to be here. And my new year and new way of being, I am dedicated to my awakening and actually embodying it fully.
Yeah.
And in December, I had a couple of experiences that opened the door to this knowing and put me in a path that I can no longer deny the need for all of us to do our own work and dissolve the illusion of separation, because that is what is causing a lot of harm and pain in the world right now. And my focus for this year and beyond is, first of all, to continue doing my own work, because there is no end. There's all level as we grow. We are part of a mystery, and we are mystery ourselves. So it's so hard to understand ourselves and then the world that we're living. So we need to continue in our path and grow. And that is my first. And second is to share from where I am, the truth of who I am, and share that, and hoping that I can inspire others to also do their own inner work that we all need to do.
I love that. And it's really like we're unraveling the mysteries of this earthly realm and the mysteries within ourselves. And they're like, for me as well, it feels like we're never done learning. We're always students of life and love. And there are deepening, profound layers to discover. And I love, as you shared, like, life is really supporting us in beautiful ways. And you followed your inspiration, especially at the end of the year, with this beautiful, well, maybe we'll dive in it in a minute, but I loved how when we're ready, the next puzzle piece will reveal. And it's trusting. I think this, the most important thing that we're all being guided now is trusting that whatever experience is coming on our path, it's for a reason, whether it's a beautiful, blissful experience or a mystery that is unraveling, or it's a challenge or a trigger. It is, in the end, if we can see it through love, it is an invitation to unravel a deeper mystery in ourselves. And I think your story of what you went through, I think it's a beautiful testament to the openings that happen whenever we're ready to see it, and whenever we're ready to step into this next level, to experience it on a profound level. Because that's what I love as well, as you shared. It's about the embodiment. Yes, we can know a lot of there, but now is the time to really know it in every cell of our body and every part of our being, because by that, wherever you are going, you're spreading these codes. So whether you're doing the groceries or standing on a schoolyard or wherever, you're the embodiment of that. And by that, you're creating waves of change by your presence, by you're living it. So I don't know if you want to share, and feel free to share whatever you feel called, but I really love how you followed that initiation and how it led you into this empowerment of expressing your truth and your voice and your...
Yeah, thank you, Kim. I remember that when we talked at the end of 2023, I shared with you that I'm going on a soul journey. And I was excited because I felt that I need to be informed as my next move. And so then I went. A couple of weeks after that, I had 2 shamanic journey that I went to, and a weekend of just being in nature alone and just taking in all the way that nature can inform you. But it was during my shamanic journey, it was 2 nights that the first night was a typical journey, a shamanic journey that I've had before, which was very personal. And my intention was for me to see all the way that ego is still running my life, because I wanted to really step down from that and just embody truly who I am more. And it was an interesting night because I had this conflict that it seemed like a conflict between the ego and my higher self. I'm going to call it higher self. And literally it was back and forth going, and the ego is not willing to go away. And this went on for a long time, but at some point it was interesting because there was a peace and agreement literally that my ego will step down, but it would not disappear. Which was profound later when I found out. Like it's like we need our essence there, that there is not that ego needs to go away, right? But ego needs to step down and not be in charge. We need our part in just living this 3D life. We do need our personalities. We need to that. But if it's running our life, that's when we are, not aligned with who we truly are. So that was the first night, which I felt tremendous peace and ease within me. And the second night, my intention, I didn't know, because I was such a great place, didn't know, but we always have a fire ceremony before we start. And I said, I want to see what I'm not able to see, right? And this night was very different from any other experience I have had, because it wasn't personal at all. It started by, I literally saw myself like a flash of light going through a tunnel. And all of a sudden, I was in a world that seemed like a world in war. It was tremendous pain and suffering. And I was witnessing all of this. Now, typically when I'm in my shamanic journey, if I open my eyes, I am fully aware that I'm in the journey and in the room. But it was so deep that it scared me. And I opened my eyes wanting to get out of it, because I was in such a pain. I could feel the pain of the suffering. I could see the cause of all the pain all the pain that everybody was feeling, and I was witnessing what was happening. And I opened my eyes, but I was still in this scene, which really scared me. That has never happened. And I remember screaming, saying, stop, I can't take it. Because it was just, I can't even explain, Kim, the pain and suffering that I was feeling because I was witnessing all of that. And I remember saying, I cannot take this anymore, stop. And for the first time, I asked for help, apparently out loud, because I really felt I can't get out of this. I was in it. And I remember somebody was trying to hold my hand, just ground me, but I was not able to get out of it. And then I remember when I said, I cannot handle this pain anymore. All of a sudden, everything collapsed in one point and exploded again. And then I witnessed the sun on one side and the moon on this other side, which was very strange. And then all of a sudden, 3 pillars of light appeared, which I was later on told it was from what they call themselves um, the Federation of Galactic, or Galactic Federation, which I have no idea what that name was about. And then now I was in a scene that they were helping just to hold the space. I was clear that they're not here to enforce anything, to create peace. Now here's the strange thing that happened, Kim. I was holding all the opposite opinion and way of being in one moment. Like the same thing that happened to me the first night was happening in a way back and forth. And, you know, I just want to say, I didn't grow up with any religion. I grew up in an agnostic family. I had no training on anything. But in this point, I was a Muslim. It looked like I could feel the pain and suffering that they have endured and why they couldn't agree with the peace and why they felt like there was this thing that all these children haven't died for nothing. We can't just agree on. And then I would move to the other side, which happened to be Jewish, I think, because everything that happened. And I could feel the pain and suffering they gone through. And then there's that they say we are no longer willing to be going through this pain. So we can, like they couldn't step back. It was like the same problem with the ego that I had. And this went on and on for a long time. And at some point they agree, which I remember I felt this glorious joy in my heart. And I remember this 3 pillars of light. When I say pillar of light, exactly, I didn't see it. It was just like pillars of light, 3 of them. Said that this is a new world order and tomorrow is going to be a new dawn. And I remember all of a sudden, I opened up my eyes and I saw this light and I felt so joyous. And, you know, the strange thinking was, it was so real that for the rest of the night, I truly believe while I was here in this place that I was, out in the world, this happened. You know, I really believe that when I wake up in the morning, it's going to be the new dawn. Right? And imagine the shock that I received. But here's the thing that I received during the whole understanding. When I got out of this, I was still in it, but I was no longer in that world. Now, I start seeing the people in my life that I thought that they harmed me and I had a hard time forgiving. Show that why it was necessary for me to go through that to be where I am now. And I clearly saw everything. And I remember there was this tremendous love in my heart for the people that I thought that have caused me harm in life and put me in a hard time. And my heart fully open to them. And I truly saw that how they came to actually help me in my journey. Now, the second thing that showed up that I still have a hard time digesting was that the people that we call evil or causing a lot of harm in the world right now, and I don't want to name them, we all know, you know, we can judge them because there is a higher plan that we cannot understand. And unfortunately, we humans have chosen to wake up through the suffering. And this going to help, and which happened at the end of what I witnessed, was huge opening and awakening on the earth because of all the pain and suffering that was happening, and then creating that peace. And that I cannot judge them. And the creation is a dance of light and darkness. And just because we can't understand it, we label it as bad or dark or evil, while it's part of the creation. So that is still something I sit with, because I have had a hard time seeing those people that I thought, in a way, that they are part of the plan. And the same way, it was interesting that I was shown in my own life, and I understood it. Now they said, okay, now see this picture, right? The bigger picture. So what I know now individually, and the message that I received, that we all need to resolve the inner conflict that we have. Who do we have a hard time loving, and why? When we can resolve that, and that comes through seeing who we truly are, because who we truly are is not a separate being. You know, it's like, I like this analogy that, you know, imagine there is a sun, one sun, and all the radiation that comes from it. Now imagine all of this light that coming from the same source argue that I am illuminated and you're not. I have more value because I have more warmth in me. And they're like, but the point is, they're all coming from the same source, right?
All rays of light, all.
Exactly. So it's like, but not only that, see that we don't live in isolation. We affect each other. You can't hide and pretend that there is a war in another world and it's not affecting you. It is affecting you. And so it's like waking up to that and seeing that unity and connection that comes from recognition of who we truly are. That we have this illusion of body and think we're separated, and there's me and there are others, right? And that's when the conflict starts. Right? So
there are so many beautiful things in what you shared, and what I love is that when the time is right, like you went to such a deep initiation that really was feelable as well in your cells and in your body. Because sometimes when we go on these journeys, we can distantiate ourselves from it because it's in the energy realm. And as you shared in your second night, as you opened your eyes, it was still there, but it was your soul wanting you to feel something. And what I hear in your stories, it's the compassion that then awakens. Because when we can be compassionate, like in your first night, experiencing the ego and your heart and all these different dimensions within you, but the only thing we can do is hold space with compassion and with love and allowing that to lead us. And then we notice that the ego is a beautiful thing that we need on this earthly journey to create, to bring forward, but it doesn't need to lead the game. But it's not separation. It's part of the totality of this earthly package. And then your second night, I think it's such a beautiful story in seeing then the world, but how, like, we are a small world in ourselves. And when we heal and harmonize these different layers in our field and we take responsibility for what we put out as a vibration into the collective, that is then scaled in a broader way. And it's having so much compassion, like, as you shared, experiencing both sides and having compassion, because we don't know the story. We don't know the truth. We can only witness with compassion and love and contribute in the way we can do, but contribute with compassion. Again, I think compassion is the the common word in this. We can only have compassion for what is happening and hold space for a beautiful way. And I love these. I think it was, I always forget her name, Lynn McTaggart, that had the circles of 8 or 9, and then they did these beautiful meditations, but they show the power of that when we collectively put in vibrations of love, of peace, of already, that's a way we can contribute. Because sometimes we can also feel hopeless. We see what is happening in the world and we want to do something, but the contribution is already taking responsibility for what we feel in ourselves and harmonizing our inner conflict, because by that we're harmonizing also the conflict that is happening on a broader scale, and we're contributing a different frequency into the collective consciousness. And that's what we can do. It's like, it's understanding, I think, as well, and I love is then the Galactic Council step forward. It's understanding it's almost like the scales or like the Matryoshka puppets or the like, we're all connected. It's just like, this is just a smaller version of the whole world, and then the galaxy, and then then it's all in one, and we can bring change by this beautiful if small vessel that then influences the whole web. So I think it's such a beautiful, and sometimes it's also, I think, what I hear in like be aware of what you wish for, because you might get it, like you asking that second night, like show me what I'm not ready to see, and then you get such a like the universe really responds in magical ways. But sometimes it's not what our mind likes, because that's sometimes also the story. Like, okay, we want to grow, we want to expand, we want to step into this greater embodiment of who we are, but then suddenly triggers are coming up, or activations or challenges, but they are only here for us to become aware of an energy in our subconscious layers that have always been there, but now they're ready to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be loved, so that it can elevate with you. But suddenly it feels uncomfortable, and we feel these emotions, and we feel like icky things, and we say, no, this is not the growth that I wanted the fairy tales, and no, that's not the truth. And I love because this is so beautifully, because through you having that experience, you really felt it, and then you can, like, it cracks you open in ways where you can't go back as you were. It was this full awakening to this new realization of you in a new way.
You said it. I felt my heart broke open. And you know, exactly as you said, there was a lot of compassion and love and understanding that came from it. That, you know, that I can never, now I can say this was the moment that happened, and experience of that. This was me before and this after. Because I cannot go back to what was before, right? And like what I understand now, with all the pain in the world and what it causes, this separation and conflict, but this, I still have this enormous joy and compassion in my heart. You know, and there is the hope that we will wake up to truth of who we are. Now, we might have to go through this suffering. There is pain, unfortunately, but at the end, we will find our way to truly become the oneness that we all actually seeking. I feel like, you know, we all in our heart, what we think is missing, what we seeking, even in the connection with another person, is deep inside, is the unity within ourselves. And, you know, as we were talking before we started this podcast, I was mentioning that how blessed your kids are to have you in their life. Because if you don't do anything and just be, your presence is enough. And I see that energetic is enough for people to act differently, to open their heart, but just the way you are. And that's why I truly believe there is no higher purpose for each individual person to do their own work and just be in that isness, which is open and expensive. That's how we can make a change.
It is.
That's the only way we can make a change, not to just, you know, of course, there's lots going on and we want to do, but there is no higher thing that we can do, that do our own work and resolve our own conflict and open our own hearts.
It is.
And then we'll see that how will affect and have a ripple effect and in humanity. And hopefully we can find our way that way.
And it starts with kindness and compassion and holding space with love, because that is also what I noticed. Like sometimes we can feel in the old paradigm, like if you would have a conflict with someone, or there would be a challenge, or someone would trigger you, it would be like, okay, no, this is from that person. But then it keeps staying in the air. And it's understanding now in this time and space that we hold the power within to change it by seeing like what is being mirrored, what is being triggered, what do I feel? And I know that's not always the easy way, because the easy way is much more to say, no, you need to deal with your stuff and then it will be okay. No, now we are being invited. And for me, especially in this time and space, it is like, of course, I teach the inner garden. So we are being invited to to look at the most deep roots in our inner garden that are not in alignment with our purest self, with our light, because we are ready to witness these elements so that we can elevate the totality of our being. And that sometimes feels uncomfortable because now we need to feel things. We sometimes didn't want to feel for many lifetimes because they were too painful or too challenging. But that's the only way moving forward. And when we do that, we suddenly notice that the interaction, without the other person changing, the interaction changed because we have changed and we step into that situation from a whole different dynamic. But imagine if you are indeed the embodiment of love and you have this field that is just vibrant. Everywhere you go, you will leave the template of that vibrant energy instead of the judgment, or instead of the very shadowy energy, or and it's also not being afraid of ourselves. I think that's a beautiful story as well, as I hear your experience, like, because when we are judging the bad things that are happening in the world, we're also judging our shadow parts, because we all have shadow and light within ourselves. So we're pushing parts of ourselves away, and in that we're never coming back into this place of oneness and wholeness and completion, to feel that we are connected. No, it means saying yes to everything that we are, because there have been lifetimes where we were light, and there have been lifetimes where we also were the darkness, and it's coming to harmony with all of it without the judgment, because otherwise we can never learn who we are, because it's still like, and I, again, that is, I love how this is coming forward in this conversation, but it's like we are the tiny scale, and it's understanding the profound power we hold in this vessel to then change the dynamic on a world scale, and it's bit by bit. But imagine if hundreds, thousands, millions of people choose love, choose to take responsibility for their own field, for their own vibration, to contribute in a high vibrational state, then things start to change. If you see the emotional scale of Abraham Hicks, I think it was, where love is the highest vibration and you have fear the lowest, but there are a lot of in between. If you would already be in the vibration of peace, well, peace is maybe a hard one, but like peace and joy and gratitude. Gratitude is already, if you contribute gratitude as a vibration into the collective, that changes things. And it's understanding the steps that we can take to do that. And even when life is challenging, because that is an important key as well. When life is challenging, it's even more important to stay centered, because then we can connect to our higher self. Then we can receive the infinite solution energy instead of going into fear and judgment, because then we contract and we're not open, and we're going in our mind, and our mind can't create the solution because it has created the problem. So it's like we're looping in this dynamic, and it starts with awareness. So that's what your story has so many beautiful, inspiring elements. And thank you. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Kim. One more thing I want to say as you were talking, just the opportunity of noticing that comes with awareness. When you said that we can hold it, I think when we have a hard time accepting somebody else or hold what is happening, is because there is part of that exists within us.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So it's an opportunity for us to say, really, if you're reacting to someone, the only way you're reacting and you're really disliking it is because there is aspect of what you don't like in the other person exists within you. That's why it bothers you. Otherwise, it will not bother you. And you will not make a judgment. So now is your opportunity, right? Okay, let me look within. Where I still hold that energy that causes me actually projected, and I'm disliking this person, but could it be that is within me? And I guarantee you, if you didn't have it within you, it wouldn't bother you as much. You could hold it. You could see that you could hold it. But if it doesn't, then that means it is your shadow, and you want to take a look at it.
Yeah, that's an important key. I love sharing that. And it reminds me, years ago, I did a little course in the Ho'oponopono, and they shared in the teachings, they shared that whenever someone is sharing a story with you, whatever the story is, it means there's, even if it's a little vibrational match with that story in your field, whether it's from this lifetime, past lifetimes, family lineage, collective systems, it doesn't matter. But someone is sharing a story with you, and that means in your field there is an energy related. and you can take responsibility for that energy to harmonize it. So for years, when souls would tell me their stories, I would in the background do the Ho'oponopono to just purify the field for the both of us, because I could take responsibility for what was being shared in the depths of our beings and harmonize and elevate, and beautiful things happened in that. It's already, but it's understanding the profound power we hold to do that. And it's a choice in each and every moment. So when we feel triggered, we can respond from the trigger, or we can go within and take a silent moment and see from our truth what really is happening, see from love. But that again, it's a daily focus and a daily dedication to, okay, what is happening? Because sometimes it can feel very personal, or it can feel like, no, this is not mine, but it is, because otherwise it wouldn't show up. So thank you for bringing that energy into this space. I really love that. Yeah. And what like stepping forward, because that experience you had, that amazing experience in December last year, how do you take your steps forward, and what do you do to help yourself when you notice that there's a judging energy, or like what are practical tips as well for everyone tuning in? Like
well, as you mentioned, also the very first step is awareness, because we cannot do anything about things that we are not aware of. What does that awareness mean? Means I am fully in now, without judgment, with a loving, kind heart, witnessing what is happening in my reality, witnessing what I'm experiencing. So now, without judgment, that means I have compassion for what is I'm experiencing, right? For the other person, if it's in connection with another person, or for myself, that I am hurting, I am aware of it, right? So that's the very first step, to be fully aware. Then when it arises, see it as an opportunity rather than if there's a problem. There are no problems, but there are opportunities. And life is always showing us, if we are open to it, our next step and our next growth in life. So if I take a look at it in that way, I always ask, if I'm bothered, if something triggers me, the question is, what is within me that it causes me? It's not that a person did something. Nobody can do anything to you that arises something within you that is not already there. If it's anger is arising, it's already there. If it's jealousy arising, it's already there. So then it's my opportunity. Oh, I see the anger, right? Not that that person got me to this place. Oh, I still have some anger within me. Can I sit with it? You know, Buddha's always said when he was getting enlightened, it's not that he couldn't see all these shadows showing up. And he used to say, they call him Mara, whatever it is causing you to trigger you. He was, Mara, come here, let's have tea together. Like, I see you. Because you don't want to ignore it. What we ignore, we give more energy, right? Okay, I see you, jealousy. Come sit with me. Let's have a cup of tea, right? When we do that and we acknowledge it, that's the compassion part. You feel compassionate for the part of you that needed to feel that way, because there's this insecurity or fear arises within you. But the moment we sit with it and we allow it, then actually we notice it dissipates. You know, I always think that like little kids, that they want to get your attention and you're not paying attention, what they do, they keep pulling you down. Hey, look at me, I'm here, I'm here. And those are the emotions that we don't like and we keep want to push down and ignore, that we actually giving it more energy. They want to be seen. And the moment that we take the time to sit with it and say, I see you, and I have compassion for that part of me that still feel the fear and insecure and whatever is arising within you. And if you learn to how to soothe and notice it, where is it arises in my body? Is it in my power center? Is it in my heart? Where do I see that? What does it feel like? And we sit with it, we notice, this is my experience, that is naturally dissipate. And that's the way that, you know, right now, as I am moving towards during the day, I am very aware of anything because that causes that unease within me.
Yeah.
Because I think then is the opportunity for me to take a look.
I love that. Yeah, and that's like that's the alchemy. We are the alchemists to be able to do that. And I love to, like, in a way, these parts, they are, you can see them like your wounded inner child. And suddenly when you can see the emotions as your wounded inner child, you can have compassion for it. Because you wouldn't, if a child comes crying, you wouldn't push it away. No, you would hold space with love and allow it to express and to be seen. So I love that you share, because those are such an important keys, because if we push it away, they become louder and they become screamy, and they can even create illnesses and all of that in our bodies and in our field, and we neglect these parts for long enough. So it's understanding the power we hold to transform that, and that's the only way moving forward, and to feel fulfillment within ourselves, and to recognize, again, coming back to the first, unraveling the mysteries, because that's what I notice as well. The moment we sit with these parts within ourselves, they most of the time hold a lot of energy of wisdom and magic, but we have been pushing that away, and it's almost like by pushing it away, we're neglecting also the beauty that is within these parts of us. And suddenly when we acknowledge them, again, acknowledging our inner child, you suddenly see the playfulness arising and the wonder, and in that beautiful things start to happen. And yeah, so I think that's a beautiful invitation for all of us to take responsibility for what we feel, and sit, even if it's uncomfortable, sit with these parts of you that have been there. They are there, and it's acknowledging them with love, and in that, beautiful things start to awaken, and it's also strengthening our foundation, because when we neglect these parts, it's like we're building a house on a half foundation. No, it's building this foundation on this solid energy of all that we are, acknowledging our shadows and our beauty, and that's creating resilience to say yes to life, to say yes to the experiences, to growth, and to beautiful ways. So thank you for sharing. If there was one last thing that you would like to share to everyone tuning in, a beautiful advice or a beautiful quote or whatever you feel guided to say.
I want to encourage everyone, we are in January, just beginning this year. My encouragement is, in your own life, just take a look and see and ask yourself, who do I have a hard time loving and letting in my heart, and why? And then take a look within, and with love and compassion, open your heart. There is nothing more beautiful than when you break your heart open. You first see the benefit of joy and compassion that arises within, that you can take and share with others. But it's something that we all can do, which makes a huge difference in our world. And we all need it right now. We all need a little bit more compassion, a little bit more love. So like whoever you meet, just remind yourself, how can I bring a little bit joy in and share it?
Yes. Thank you. I love that. Thank you for sharing your story, for opening up and expressing your voice and your sacred experience, because it's really inspiring. And I really want to say, if you want to learn more about Nasrin, find out her information below this video or audio. And I want to thank you for being you, and for you anchoring your codes and sharing your wisdom with the world to make it a more beautiful place in your own unique way. And everyone tuning in as well, thank you for being you, because I know when you're on this path and you're listening to this, you're also a pioneer of a new earth. And it's all us coming together, sharing our voice, sharing our inspiration, and knowing that life is just these ups and downs. But with the power of love and community, we can do it. And we stand together in this illuminated light to bring change. So thank you for tuning in. I would love to see you in the next Soul Love podcast. And for now, much love. Bye. Thank you for joining this episode of Soul Love. If you want to find out more about what we do, you can find it below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.